Finally tonight, something is about to happen in St. Louis that a lot of people had simply given up hope of ever seeing. The day when St. Louis would get a new train station. What's taking shape at 15th and Spruce will serve Amtrak trains and Greyhound buses, a multimodal center they're calling it, a transportation hub. A functional facility oddly shaped to fit around the supports holding up Highway 40 and its ramps. The station of the future brings us to Anne-Marie Berger's story on the train station of the past, and those who remember it with smiles and tears.
There was a time when Union Station was more than a retail destination and tourist attraction. Back in its heyday, this was one of the largest and busiest passenger train terminals in the world. And during World War II, it was here that many U.S. servicemen and women from St. Louis said goodbye to their loved ones.
Well, Union Station was a crowded place then, and it was just full of servicemen.
That was something else. It was just loaded with people in uniform and people crying, kissing people goodbye and all that.
Downtown St. Louis was bustling with a lot of people everywhere during this time. There were theaters and shopping districts, and the influx of servicemen from all over the country put Union Station in the center of it all.
Extremely busy. In fact, the Midway, which was the midway point where people would wait for trains, there were two gentlemen that were hired full-time to walk from 18th Street to 20th Street on the Midway to scrape up the chewing gum off. And it was a full-time job, 8 hours a day, and that's all they did. Union Station was built as a dead-end station. So all the tracks from the West Coast, all the tracks from the East Coast basically led into St. Louis Union Station. The peak time for St. Louis Union Station was during World War II. About 2 million soldiers a month traversed through St. Louis Union Station on their way to the different destinations and ports and bases that they were affiliated to. You can imagine during World War II that it wasn't by plane travel that the troops were moved. It was by train travel.
I went down to Union Station in a taxi cab with my two best girlfriends. We cried all the way down, and they stayed with me down there at Union Station till I got lined up, got on the train.
There was two girls from our old gang. They saw every one of us off down at Union Station. She would kiss everybody. The two of them would kiss you all goodbye. But when all these guys saw these two girls kiss me goodbye, they said, "Boy, he's a lover," you know. I felt pretty proud getting on that train, you know. And my mom was there.
And my mother and father followed them up to Union Station, crying the whole way. But the whole afternoon, I came back from school that day, and the evening was sad because my mother was crying. Got mad at my father because he wanted to eat supper. He was not allowed to eat supper because she was upset because her son was gone.
But there were reasons to be upset. The families sending their boys off on those trains knew not everyone would make it back home.
These two girls went down and saw everybody off in those days, and the one girl, her brother went in right with me, and he didn't come back.
But not all visits to Union Station during the war years were sad. It was also where the boys came home and reunions were made. Bud Lehmuth met and married his wife Georgette while he was in the infantry serving in Normandy. She was active in the French resistance. 6 months after Bud returned home, his war bride arrived at Union Station.
So when they got to the train station, Union Station, she said that she was looking for him, and he, of course, for her, and he walked right past her. But my grandparents, my dad's parents, from the picture recognized her, and they ran to her, and she said she doesn't think her feet ever touched the ground until they got to the car. That the two of them just were holding on to dear life. Their last wedding anniversary, he wrote on the card, I didn't miss you at the station. I just had stars in my eyes.